Welcome to SunCoastLife.ca, where together we're buying, selling, and living in a beautiful part of the world, the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia. My name's Chris Mortensen, and you found the coast's real estate resource. Today on our show, I've got a good friend, Lyndon Williams, who's been a long-time resident here on the Sunshine Coast, and she not only is a first-time home buyer, but she's part of a growing demographic here on the coast of young people who are moving back after leaving after high school. I think traditionally, over the years up here, kids felt like they couldn't wait to get away when they were going through high school. And as soon as that opportunity came, they were long gone. And sometimes never to return, except just to visit the family. But Lyndon and her partner have decided to make the Sunshine Coast their home and have returned to the coast. And I'm excited to talk to her about that today. So I want to welcome Lyndon. Hi, Lyndon.
Hey.
I'm going to pull you up, too. There she is.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Sunshine Coast.
Hey.
So, Lyndon, tell me a little bit about what life was like here growing up when you were young and what your perception of the coast was and how that changed enough to bring you back to the Sunshine Coast to raise your family.
Sure. Yeah, life was great. We actually lived all over the coast, from Gibson's all the way up to Half Moon Bay at different times. So I got a good feel for the whole, well, a lot of it. I felt it was great. I mean, I got to run around, play outside with my friends. It was safe. There was no real concern for where we were at any certain time. I mean, until the sun went down, then we had to come home. But I felt safe. Every community we lived in, I felt safe, which I think was a big part of it.
Yeah, for sure. So when you were growing up and headed off to school and such, by the time you were getting into high school, were you feeling like you were a little bit trapped by the place, or had it become, or did you feel like you really had all that you needed on the coast? What were your feelings as you started to get on towards being an adult?
Yeah, no, we definitely wanted to leave. I think almost everyone who I knew, everyone in my little group of friends, we felt that, the coast was too small and there's nothing here for us, nothing to do, we can't meet anyone or whatever. And so we were desperate to leave.
And so you did that right after high school? Did you take off for a while?
Right after high school, which gave me a little bit of a taste for it, just to leave. I was gone for a few months. And then coming back and just, life goes on when you're not here and you come back and you're not in school. You need to be an adult. You need to get a job, and there's lots of that here. But at the same time, I felt like I couldn't get ahead. So I wanted to move to the big city and see what I could do there.
Right, which I think is a common thing for people of that age, and I mean, there's a sense of adventure, and you want to get out and see the world for sure. But
totally.
Yeah, but that underlying sense that there's not enough here, or that you can't, like you say, get ahead. I mean, that can be a scary thing. So you were living in the Vancouver area, and then what changed for you? At what point did you think that the Sunshine Coast might be a place that you could really settle down and make a go of it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never really thought, I probably didn't, I mean, as a teenager, you don't really think about where you're going to have your kids, or, I mean, You just move on with life. You think about yourself, you don't think about anything else. So when I went into town, that's when Riley and I got together, and, it was serious. It wasn't just a dating thing. I wasn't just hanging out with whoever. It was, this is going to be my partner for life. So we talked together, and at the time, he's a builder. He wanted to build custom homes, and a lot of that happens up here. There's a lot of development up here. Mm-hmm. So we discussed it, and his job was slowing down in the city, and the commutes were just a lot. I was commuting an hour and a half each way to get to work. He was commuting sometimes 2 hours to get to work.
Wow, yeah.
It was ridiculous. So we both decided that, we would make the move back here. He would get a job, and at that point we were, saving to buy a house. So we could afford here, and we couldn't afford in Vancouver.
Right. And so you were at that point in life where you needed to start making some decisions about
Yeah.
where you wanted to settle down and such. And you said that you were starting to get serious. Was the your perception still of the Sunshine Coast a great place to raise kids, and how has that been for you?
Yeah, for sure. Like when I mean, I guess I switched into that mode a little earlier than a lot of people. But when you move into the family mode, settling down mode, you look around in the city and some people are like grew up that way and they appreciate it and they just know how it is. I didn't.
Hmm.
I grew up here, right? And Riley actually grew up in Ladner, which at the time was a sort of smaller town as well, but now going back there it's like the city. Like we don't know anyone there. And so we both wanted that, comfortable, we have friends here who have kids. We just wanted easy access to the outdoors, like I was saying, to buy a house that we could afford.
Yeah.
We didn't have to rent here. So there's a lot of different reasons why we came back, for sure.
So you were a first-time home buyer not so long ago here on the Sunshine Coast, and you said one of the things that brought you back was the affordability and being able to actually get into a place at a reasonable price that would not probably be something that you could do right in the city, anyways, in Vancouver. What were the things that you went through when you were looking to buy a house up here, and were there enough resources for you, or was something like what we're doing right now, SunCoastLife.ca, was that something that would have been beneficial to you?
For sure. I mean, a little bit biased right now because I'm a part of it, but
Full disclosure, Lyndon and I
but
work together, and
oh my gosh, for sure. I knew nothing. Like I worked in the bank. I worked at Royal Bank, which was great. I learned a little bit about mortgages and loans and all that. But when you really got into it, I knew nothing about the process. I was just kind of going step by step as to what other people were telling us to do, which I wasn't really comfortable with. I'm more of an information person. I need to find out, you know, how to do things before, not just like go off what someone else says. Like I do trust people with what they're saying, but that's just the way I am.
right.
Um, and so I just felt like I was blind. Like they were just say, okay, now you go do this. Okay, now you don't have enough money, so you need to do this. And it was just a long, I don't know. It wasn't all bad, but I definitely wish I had more information, or I mean, a place to get more information that
Yeah.
was more specific to my situation as a first-time home buyer and not just home buying in general. So,
So what I hear you saying is did you feel like you were giving up a fair bit of control,
yeah,
that things were a little bit out of your hands, and I can see how that would be with a first-time home buyer
it's
sometimes a
scary.
little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit overwhelming and scary. And by the time it was all said and done, I mean, we are in our house. We're still in our house, and it's a great place. But obviously, there's a huge list growing of things that, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, or had this in my house, or this location, or everything like that. So,
Yeah. Well, it was interesting in our discussion with Cody in one of the previous episodes. I think it might have been in our pre-interview that we did. He mentioned that, yeah, I think a lot of the times the realtors, they see it as a very simple process and a very step-by-step orderly process because they go through it so often. And oftentimes he says he needs to really put himself in that kind of first-time homebuyer mentality in
yeah,
order to best serve his client because they can forget how maybe not overwhelming, but how kind of out of the loop you can feel, and just part of the process as you get taken along in the flow of it all.
totally. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if you were thinking to yourself about back when you were a first-time home buyer, what were some of the things that you would have liked to have at your fingertips in terms of a resource, or what are some things that ideas that you might want to talk with somebody about? Because you and I, being the ones spearheading this SunCoastLife.ca, we're trying to put together some more stories and some more ways that we can serve the people on the coast. And first-time home buyers, that's a big part of it. What do you think we can do to help those people out?
You know what would have been really helpful would to have been to talk to more people who are first-time homebuyers, like recently, like a group or
Right.
a blog or something, like as a local home first time home buyer, and where they bought and how it went, and
Yeah.
because I have a group of friends who've owned homes, and we can talk to them, but that's just a small group, and it would have been nice to know a broad spectrum of what can come up, what problems can arise, how to be better prepared when you go to the bank to get your mortgage,
Yeah.
know what questions to ask, all those things. There's some like online websites that'll tell you like what to ask when you're going to talk to a mortgage specialist, but it'd be better if it was coming from someone I knew was local,
Right.
and could trust, right?
Yeah. For sure. No, and I can, and like we even in doing research for the shows, so much of the information that I find about real estate online, not just in general, and then for the Sunshine Coast, well, it's put out by realtors and it's put out
Yeah,
by banks, and that's fine. A lot of it is quality information,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, this is where uh, you and I both have seen the gaps in what's available, and hopefully we can do that. We can provide a place for people to talk and for people
exactly.
to share their experience.
Experience based, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and now and you can speak and help other people who are in the same situation. Hopefully, not make mistakes, or at least think through things
Yeah,
from a different perspective. So I
totally.
look forward to doing that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
and we should probably put it out there in general that both you and I are totally open to taking
Oh,
suggestions.
for
Probably
sure.
through the
Yeah.
Facebook page is the best way to do it, and because any topics that we can talk about, Lyndon and I would love to feature. So if people out there watching want to hit us up and send us your suggestions, we'd be more than happy to talk about it. And
I'll sit on camera. They don't have
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, and we'll find somebody to talk about it.
Yeah.
Just because you suggest it doesn't mean you need to come on camera and talk about it. But
Totally.
so Lyndon is taking care of a lot of the legwork for each of these interviews and connecting with people and deciding on topics and doing pre-interviews and such. So as a team, we hope to bring you many more episodes of SunCoastLife.ca, and we're just getting the ball rolling. So stick around and check it out over the weeks, months, and hopefully years to come.
Yeah.
And the Facebook page is the place to be. So look up SunCoastLife.ca on Facebook,
Yeah.
and that's where you can connect with us. Thanks so much, Lyndon.
Thank you.
She's really just in the next room, but we make it. Yeah. Thanks
A
for
world
being
away.
thanks for being willing to be on camera and chat with me.
No problem.
All right. Take care.
See you later.
And that is another episode of SunCoastLife.ca, and I just want to encourage you to keep living the Suncoast life. I'm Chris Mortensen. Take care. Hey, I need your support. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, I need your support. Subscribe to the channel.